Today our topic is the art of saying no, a Stoic perspective. Saying no is one of the hardest things to do in life. We often feel pressured to say yes to everything, to people, to tasks, to opportunities, even when we know we shouldn't. We fear disappointing others, being seen as unkind, or missing out on something important. But the truth is, saying no is not just a skill, it's an art. And when we look at it through the lens of Stoicism, it becomes even more powerful. Stoicism teaches us to focus on what we can control, to live with virtue, and to find peace in simplicity. Saying no is a way to practice these principles. Let's explore why saying no matters and how we can do it with wisdom and courage. First, let's talk about why saying no is so difficult. Many of us feel guilty when we say no. We worry about hurting someone's feelings or being seen as selfish. We think that if we say no, we might lose respect, love, or opportunities. But here is the truth. Saying yes to everything does not make you a better person. It often leads to stress, burnout, and resentment. When you say yes to things you don't truly want or need, you're not being kind to yourself or to others. You're spreading yourself too thin, and in the end you can't give your best to anyone or anything. Stoicism teaches us to focus on what is within our control. We can't control how others feel or react, but we can control our own actions and decisions. When you say no, you are taking control of your life. You are choosing to prioritize what truly matters to you. This doesn't mean you should be selfish or ignore the needs of others. It means you should be honest about your limits and intentional about how you spend your time and energy. Saying no is not about rejecting others. It's about respecting yourself. One of the key ideas in Stoicism is the concept of virtue. Virtue means living with wisdom, courage, justice, and self-discipline. When you say no, you are practicing these virtues. You are using wisdom to recognize what is truly important. You are showing courage by standing up for your values, even if it's uncomfortable. You are practicing justice by being fair to yourself and others. And you are exercising self-discipline by not giving in to every demand or desire. Let's think about courage for a moment. Saying no requires courage because it often involves risk. You might risk upsetting someone or missing out on an opportunity. But Stoicism teaches us that courage is not the absence of fear. It's acting in spite of fear. When you say no, you are choosing to face your fears and do what is right. You are choosing to live authentically, even if it's difficult. This kind of courage builds character and strength over time. Another important Stoic principle is the idea of simplicity. The Stoics believe that a simple life is a good life. When you say no to unnecessary commitments, distractions, and desires, you are simplifying your life. You are making space for what truly matters. This doesn't mean you should say no to everything. It means you should say no to the things that don't align with your values and goals. By doing this, you create a life that is focused and meaningful. But how do you say no in a way that is kind and respectful? This is where the art comes in. Saying no doesn't have to be harsh or rude. You can say no with kindness and clarity. For example, instead of saying, "I can't help you," you can say, "I'm not able to take this on right now, but I appreciate you thinking of me." This way, you are being honest without being hurtful. You can also offer an alternative if possible. For example, "I can't meet this week, but let's schedule something for next month." This shows that you care, even if you can't say yes. It's also important to remember that you don't owe everyone an explanation. Sometimes, no is a complete sentence. You don't have to justify your decisions to everyone. Of course, there are times when an explanation is helpful or necessary, but you don't need to over-explain yourself. This is where self-discipline comes in. It's easy to feel pressure to give reasons, but you can choose to stand firm in your decision. Saying no also requires self-awareness. You need to know your limits, your values, and your priorities. This is where reflection comes in. Take time to think about what matters most to you. What are your goals? What do you want to achieve? What brings you joy and fulfillment? When you are clear about these things, it becomes easier to say no to what doesn't align with them. This is the wisdom part of Stoicism, knowing yourself and making decisions based on that knowledge. It's also helpful to remember that saying no is not a rejection of the person, it's a rejection of the request. When you say no to someone, you are not saying you don't care about them. You are simply saying that you can't do what they are asking. This distinction is important because it helps you let go of guilt. You can still care about someone deeply and say no to their request. Another Stoic idea that applies here is the concept of amor fati, which means love of fate. This means accepting what happens in life, even the difficult things. When you say no, you are accepting the consequences of that decision. Maybe someone will be disappointed. Maybe you will miss out on something. But you are choosing to accept these outcomes because you know that saying no is the right thing for you. This acceptance brings peace and freedom. Saying no also helps you set boundaries. Boundaries are essential for healthy relationships and a balanced life. When you say no, you are setting a boundary. You are telling others what you can and cannot do. This is not about being rigid or controlling. It's about being honest and respectful. Boundaries protect your time, energy, and well-being. They also help others understand how to treat you. When you set clear boundaries, you create healthier and more respectful relationships. Finally, let's talk about the long-term benefits of saying no to you. When you practice the art of saying no, you create a life that is aligned with your values and goals. You have more time and energy for the things that matter most to you. You feel less stressed and more in control. You build stronger relationships because you are honest and authentic. And you develop a sense of inner peace because you are living in harmony with your true self. In conclusion, saying no is not just a skill. It's an art. It requires wisdom, courage, and self-discipline. When you say no, you are practicing Stoic principles and creating a life that is focused and meaningful. You are taking control of your time and energy. You are setting boundaries and building healthier relationships. And you are living authentically, with peace and purpose. So the next time you feel pressured to say yes, remember the art of saying no. Choose what aligns with your values and goals. Say no with kindness and clarity. And trust that by doing so, you are creating a life that is truly your own.